Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. So a couple things before we get started. Some kind of good news, bad news. Well, mostly bad news, sadly. So a couple things. Apparently I still had audio problems or a memory card problem with some of the things I recorded at San Diego. So I'm not sure what I'll be able to salvage out of that, unfortunately. So sadly, I don't know if I'll be able to get any of them up. We'll just have to see. I have to work on them with some software and stuff and see if I can pull things out of it. So that's definitely on hold. The other thing is it's been so busy this week. I've not been able to do the reviews for the week of Comic-Con books. Most of those are already out. I'll try to do a really quick one, hopefully this weekend, if I get a chance, and try to catch up. But I'll at least hit the highlights of that, of things definitely you should look out for at your comic store. But also, so that's really kind of the bad news. The good news is, so I've put new books up behind me. I'll get out of the way really quick so you can see their covers, and then I'll go through them really quick. There's some good stuff. Actually, a lot of them were from First Second Press that had everything at their booth at Comic-Con on Sunday half off. So I went crazy. But the Bunk Bed Mishaps is from Mark Russell. That was actually a Kickstarter book. And what it is he's a writer, but he also kind of does these weird cartoons. And so he's been, saving them over the years, and he did a Kickstarter and we, did very well. So he put that book out. It's pretty wild. The other one, the Terrymore After Dark, is another Kickstarter that I did, and it's just really pinups and things like that. It's just really different things that Terry's done over the years. Then we have Ducks, which was an Eisner winning book this year. I haven't had a chance to read it, but I'm very excited about it. What Unites Us is so the all bottom rows first second books. That's written by Dan Rather, so I'm very excited about reading that. Then there's Junior High, that I didn't really know anything about, but they sold it to me, with a premise about these girls, coming of age and starting a band, but all the stuff that comes with when you're a teenager. Then there's the Book of Clash. I got that because it's written by Jane Luen Yang. And then the Adventure Zone, which I had not seen, but apparently is very popular. It's kind of a Dungeons and Dragons theme, and I've been told they're really, really good books. So that's there. And then, of course, we have our Be Kind, which we do at the end of our show. So that covers what's behind us. So let's get to this week's books. The good thing is I am going to do the Night Terror books, but I'm literally only going to do the ones that were worth checking out for a second issue. So first up is Night Terror Jokers #2, written by Matthew Rosenberg, with artwork by Stefan Raphael. So what, once again, a Joker's nightmare is, working a 9-to-5 job, but he's married, he has a kid, but he's having nightmares about Batman, who he killed in the first issue. And people are saying, no, Batman's still alive. And Batman's like this demon that basically just kills bad guys. And so it was really kind of interesting. I would say what we're going to see, and I'll kind of preface this, that most of the stories end of like them waking up and going, oh, it was a bad nightmare. So that part, really, I don't think there really is. Hopefully there'll be maybe some better endings, but it just they kind of end that way. But I did actually like the story on this one. I think Rosenberg did a good job. Raphael did a nice job on the artwork. This one was kind of interesting because it was Joker is working a 9-to-5 job in Wayne Enterprises, which was really interesting. So even though he's killed Batman, Bruce Wayne's still alive. So it was an interesting story, and the art was nice. So I think, it was definitely one of the better ones. Next up, we have Night Terror's Poison Ivy #2, written by G. Willow Wilson, with artwork by Adigan Ilihan. So this one is Poison Ivy, is she's living kind of a suburban nightmare, kind of like the Stepford Wives sort of thing, where she's trapped, and Janet from HR is, she's dreaming, but she's not part of this exaggerated suburban nightmare, and so she tries to get Pamela out, and then Harley and the other nightmares are trying to keep them in, and that's really the basic story. Once again, it was kind of one of the better ones. The interesting thing was Illihan's art is actually very bizarre, but it actually really works for the feel and the tone of the story. So even though it kind of it's kind of distorted fairy tale artwork, which is really quite fascinating. Wilson, who's been the regular writer on Poison Ivy, like I said, it was one of the more interesting ones. So I wasn't there's only been a couple that really kind of I thought were worth reading, and these two this week were the two that were left standing from this second the second issues. So that's that, and that's Night Terror for this week. Next up we have Fire and Ice #1. Written by Bill Willingham with artwork by Leonardo Amanco. So this is based on the 1982 film Fire and Ice, directed by Ralph Bashki, based on artwork by Frank Frazetta. And so what this is kind of a prequel to that film, so it kind of goes into the past. So you have the main characters of Larn and Tigra, and they're kind of sets them up. We also see Darkwolf, but not really that much. But we also kind of see that Necron, who's like the son of Queen Juliana, we find out that he had a brother, and basically now we know why Necron is an only child. But it's really interesting. I mean, definitely, I think you have to know the film to definitely read this. So if you haven't seen the film, I wouldn't necessarily recommend reading it, but I would say watch the film. It's a nice fantasy film. It's not, the story's pretty basic and everything, but it was a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of it. But it's a simple story, but you need to know what the events of that and to know the characters to read this. Willingham did a really nice job. Obviously, he really understands fantasy because he wrote Fables. But the big surprise was Manco's art. I'll be honest, a lot of times the art in Dynamite books are not very good, but the artwork on this book is absolutely fantastic. It's a really gorgeous book. And it kind of, captures that Frazetta feel without mimicking it, but it's just really a good looking book. So hopefully he'll stay on the book and it'll go. But, like I said, if you're like me and a fan of the movie, then definitely, check out the book. I really liked it. And if you're interested, watch the movie and then read the book. Next up, we have Junk Rabbit #5, written and drawn by Jimmy Robinson. So this finishes, the story. So what we have learned that Sylve and Ash's mom is actually Junk Rabbit, and it was Lance's father who did experiments on her, and she became Junk Rabbit. And what it was is, so we also find out that Masters, who's the bad guy, is kind of related to Sylve and Ash. I'm trying not to give too much away, but it's really interesting. I really like what Jimmy did here. First of all, he wrapped it up, but it could continue, which I think is always positive. If it's something that's good. If it's something you didn't like, then it's like, why would you continue this? But in this case, I would like to see Jimmy do some more Junk Rabbit. I thought it wrapped up very nicely. It like I said, it tied up the story threads, but there are stories that could come out of this with the dome and the junk and the differentiation between the people and stuff, and kind of the aftermath of what has been learned from the experiments that Masters did on people and stuff. So there's kind of a lot, once again, Jimmy did a really good job of wrapping it up, but leaving it open to do more if sales are good and stuff like that. So, and I really think this is some of the best artwork of his career. I mean, I think he's a really great artist, but he really did a great job on this book, and it was a lot of fun. So I think it's probably going to be a little tough to find, the previous 4 issues. So there will be a trade of this coming out, and I would say definitely check it out if you're. I like the different take on the post-apocalyptic Fiesta. Next up, we have The Sacrificers #1, written by Rick Remainder with artwork by Max Fumara. So this is kind of the expanded, because part of the first issue was printed for Free Comic Book Day. So if you're able to pick that up, you've kind of read the story. But the thing that's interesting about this, so what it is there's tomorrow is kind of a harmonious paradise, and this kind of Fire King runs the kingdom. But what it is the families have to give a sacrifice, one child per family, for this. We don't know why yet. We just know that this happens. But what it is we see the story of this family, and there's like the older son that is really the dad. For some reason, there's something between him and the dad. I'm sure we'll learn about why that is. But all the kids are younger, and so he's the one that needs to be sacrificed, and there's a lot of setup here. Let's just say that there's definitely a very interesting setup. I really liked it. I like what I read in the Free Comic Book Day, and then this adds a little bit more to the story from that. But it's definitely, I think it's well worth checking out. And the other thing is, Fumara's artwork's really, really nice. It's a really good looking book. It's an interesting concept, and I liked how it set it up, but I didn't feel overly, with exposition on this first issue. I think it's well worth checking out. And like I said, the artwork's absolutely, just wonderful. Next up, we have Fantastic Four #10. Written by Ryan North with artwork by Leonardo Fernandez. Excuse me. Now, that I'm a big fan of this Fantastic Four book, and what I'm liking what Ryan North is first of all, he's gotten the family back together, which is really the crux of what Fantastic Four is. But I also like that he's not doing stories to tell kind of about, them just going to another superhero team. Oh, we're going to go fight villains and blah, blah, blah. I like the fact that he's doing different stories. And this story is, so there's this spaceship that, this alien race, their son was dying. So they basically built this ark. And what has happened is the engines have failed. And so the story takes place over hundreds of years, and so what it is every time that the ship wakes somebody up, they kind of see something or hear something. They basically see something, and then they try to figure it out, and then they die, and then another person's woken up, and it kind of goes through. But what you find out through the story is it's actually the Fantastic Four is trying to help this ship, but the reason that the aliens can't really figure out what's going on is because there's a huge time difference. It's kind of like a time warp. They're kind of caught in a time bubble. And the Fantastic Four is in one time, and the Ark is in another. So it was really a fascinating story. I really liked it. And Fernandez's artwork is really, really nice. I love this book. I cannot recommend the Fantastic Four enough. I dig this book so much. You definitely need to be buying this book. And I know there's the trade. I'm not sure if it's out, but it's coming out of the first 6 issues, I believe. So definitely pick that up if you've missed this. Next up, we have The Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, #2, with the idea by James Tynan IV, with the script by Tate Bromble, and the artwork by Isaac Goodhart. So basically what this is, it's kind of a reimagined version of the Universal Monster. So Christopher Chaos is Frankenstein, and we saw that last issue that Hayden, one of the the kids at school that was kind of bullying Christopher. He was the Wolfman. And then so this issue we meet Geordie, who's Dracula Boy, and we also meet Viv. Now we're not sure who Viv is. So what it is Geordie, kind of knows that Christopher knows something about Hayden's disappearance and what happened. And so he confronts him, and Christopher says, hey, it was, eventually it wasn't me, but at school, Viv kind of gets in between, Christopher and Geordie and says, hey, leave him alone. So Viv is going to play, obviously, a part. We just don't know quite what yet. And so we also kind of see the other side where kind of outside of the school, where the detective's trying to figure out, because at the beginning of the issue, Geordie has killed, bad guys. He's kind of like the superhero. And so the detective gets involved and it's like, hey, this is not a normal case, blah, blah, blah. So there's kind of that. So we're now kind of seeing the town part coming into this story. I'm really digging this book. I really like what Tate is doing with the story here. Goodhart's artwork is really, really nice. I'm really liking it. Once again, it's Universal Monsters kind of told in a different way, and I really like that. They're not Universal Monsters for copyright reasons, but definitely I'm having a lot of fun with this book, and Goodhart's art is really quite nice. So it's definitely continues to be well worth checking out. Next up, we have Peacemaker Tries Hard, number 4, written by Kyle Starks with artwork by Steve Pugh. So the Brain and Miguel, his partner, has kidnapped Bruce Wayne, not the Bruce Wayne. He is kidnapped Peacemaker's dog, Bruce Wayne, and so he finds General Immortus, him and Red Bee, who is Richard, his parole officer, basically. So they go to General Immortus, and he kind of tells them where they are. And when they go to find him, they come across this, I guess you could call him a villain, called Snowflame, who gets his powers from like snorting up cocaine. Yes, it's as crazy as it sounds, and it's even better than I can describe it. I don't want to say anymore because the fight with Snowflame is absolutely spectacular. And how he's defeated is like freaking hilarious. I love this book to death. I'm a big fan of Kyle Stark, and he's really the perfect writer for this. And Steve Pugh's artwork is absolutely amazing. He is a great artist. I will say again, if you have not checked out his work on the Flintstones, definitely pick up that book. It is really wonderful. He's a really great artist, and they are both just knocking it out of the park on this book. I love this book to death. This is a fun book. Next up, we have Quest number 1, written and drawn by Jonathan Luna, with script assist by Crystal Wood. So the story's pretty basic here. So what it is Princess Anya and Prince Divanya are getting married, and then right after they get married, these 3 monsters show up at the wedding and kidnap the prince. And so then the princes, because they're at the prince's kingdom. So the king is like, oh well, we'll send out troops tomorrow, and the princess is like, we need to go now, and figure out where they've taken him and why they've taken him. And they're like, no, go to your room. And so her and her kind of closest guard, they basically we're gonna go find him. So that's basically the setup here. I really like Jonathan Luna's stuff. He's done a lot of stuff over the years. I'll be the first to admit this first issue was pretty basic, but it's kind of setting everything up. But I liked it. I wouldn't say that I was overwhelmed, but I think it's a decent setup. It was really it was interesting. The demons were really cool looking. But it'll be interesting because the princess isn't like, oh, they took him, which is nice. She's willing to just go get him, and I kind of dug that part. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. I think we'll see what the second issue brings and kind of go from there. But like I said, even though it's pretty basic, I did like the first issue. Next up, we have The Sins of the Salton Sea, number 3. written by Ed Brisson, with artwork by C.P. Smith. So what this is Wyatt has, so there was initially kind of an armored car robbery, and they thought that there was going to be money in it, but there actually wasn't. So there was the mom and her son Silver. So basically what it is the son he's the son of the head of this cult, the Sons of the Salton, or Sins of the Salton Sea. And what their thing is that the world's coming to an end, and things are happening, and that they have to sacrifice Silver to stop these events from happening. So that's kind of we learn this issue. This is that setup. So Wyatt has, Silver has told Wyatt all this. And so, I don't want to give away the ending, but this issue kind of really explains a lot, but really sets up where it's going to go. I'm really kind of digging this story. It started off as a pretty simple robbery sort of MO, and then it really morphed into something else, which I really liked. I think Brisson's done a really nice job with that. And then Smith's artwork is a really good looking book. Like I said, I'm digging it. And it's definitely well worth checking out again this week. Next up, we have Conan the Barbarian, #1, written by Jim Zub, with artwork by Rob D. Leltor. So basically this is Conan the Barbarian. And the nice thing about it was, that Zub really understands the, kind of the comic version of Conan, and it's just a good, solid Conan story. So basically what it is he's in this town, and he's kind of like just hanging out, and then all of a sudden this warrior woman comes in and says, "Hey, you guys need to get out of town. There's these zombie monsters that are coming." And so basically they fight them, and it doesn't go well, but they get out. The town, they just burn it to the ground with the zombie guys. And so he says, "Well, hey, I should go back home, and I don't want to give anything anymore, but look, if it's if you're not necessarily a Conan fan, I don't know that this book is going to convince you, but I think most everybody's a Conan fan, so we'll kind of say that. I really had a fun time with it. The story was, solid, good Conan. The artwork's actually really, really nice. It's really nice. The coloring is really, really nice. Jose Villarriba, who recently recolored the Burning Wraith and Swamp Thing stories, he did the coloring, and it's really, really nice. But I think it's worth checking out. I really kind of dug it. I'm not the hugest Conan fan, but I think it was a good, solid story with really nice art. So that definitely sold it. And finally this week we have Magneto #1, written by J.M. DeMatteis, with artwork by Todd Knock. Now, I don't know if this takes place in any sort of continuity. The thing I did like about it was pick up and read, because it didn't seem like there was really much continuity. So basically what it is Magneto is teaching at Xavier's school. Now Xavier's not there. I'm not sure what's going on with that. It wasn't really explained. There may be more story down the road, but we'll kind of see. So basically what it is, he's training the New Mutants, and this is kind of the classic 80s and or 90s New Mutants. So that's really kind of the time period I believe it's in. And it's so what it is there's a new villain that pops up and basically kidnaps Magneto, and then the New Mutants are like, okay, we're gonna probably have to go save him. That's kind of, it's a basic structure story. I liked it. I'm more of a fan of like the New Mutants from that era, so that appealed to me. It's got Warlock and all that kind of stuff, and they're wearing the yellow and black outfits, kind of the classic X-Men outfits. The story's fine. It didn't blow me away, but I had a good time with it. So, but for me, the big win is Todd Knox doing the artwork, and he's really a good artist, and he's perfect for this book. He really captures that, kind of original period of New Mutants. Most specifically, Bob McLeod, who was the original artist on the book. But it really is a nice looking book. It's a fun story. And that's okay. I had fun with it. And I think, sometimes having a fun, enjoyable comic is all you need. So I think it's worth checking out if you're a fan of X-Men and kind of don't want a bunch of continuity that you have to like, oh well, I have to read 4 years worth of stuff to read the story. Nope, you can just pick it up and go, which is always a plus, I think. And that's going to do it this week. Thankfully, we got through them pretty quick. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics at Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner, the owner, is a really great guy, runs a really great store. Annie, Derek, and Wendy are there. Derek pretty much runs the socials, but Wendy and Annie are pretty much at the store most of the time, along with Ryan. But definitely check it out. They offer, they have a great pull service, so you don't miss any of your books. And you get a discount with the pull service. He offers discounts on trades of graphic novels every day. And he has they have a nice, it's not a huge manga selection, but they have a nice manga selection. They have a good all ages section, which is really nice. But definitely if you're in the area, definitely stop by and check it out. And tell him I sent you, so Ryan knows that somebody's watching this that goes to stores, so that's cool. But it's just a really good comic shop. And as always, support your local comic shop. Make sure if you pre-order stuff or you order stuff, make sure you pick it up on a timely basis, because they have to pay for it before you get it. So definitely make sure you buy your comics and whatever else you order on a timely basis, so they're not stuck with it. But definitely support your local comic shop. They're the real backbone of the industry. And as always, we end our show with be kind. Be kind to each other. Be kind to others. Be kind to yourself. I think a lot of times we really forget that we need to kind of take care of ourselves. But that's being kind. Most of the time you think about being kind, opening the door, saying hi, and just hey, have a nice day, things like that, which is really good. But also, be kind to yourself. Like, once again, oh, I am at the comic shop, I'll spend a little more money on myself. I got a little extra this week, things like that. Just take care of yourselves, because I know it's tough out there, but don't let things get you down. I know it's hard some days, trust me, work, whatever, it's really tough, but just take care of yourself, and then just be kind to others. So that's going to do it this week. Thanks for watching. As always, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please share it. If you have any comments, please leave them. Fingers crossed, we'll see what we can get out of the San Diego stuff, but I'm not feeling super confident, but we'll see. But I know a lot of other people have posted stuff. So, definitely, if you weren't able to make it to Comic-Con, check out any videos or articles and stuff about it, because it was a really fun time. So hopefully we'll get everything organized, before, any other conventions. Fingers crossed. Really, I have to admit, it's really bumming me out with the technical issues, but once again, be kind to yourself. I'll be kind to me. It's okay. But thanks for watching. This is Steve from PopCultureMaven.com signing off. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you again next week. All right. Bye-bye.